Good evening. Welcome to a peaceful journey through time, where we will gently step into a world long past, a world that hummed quietly with the rhythms of everyday life. A world where the rush of modern days hadn't yet touched the soil. The world of a medieval village. Take a deep breath and let your body relax. Let the weight of the day fade away. Close your eyes if you like, or keep them gently open, focusing on the calm sounds of my voice. We are about to drift into a story of simple joys and gentle routines, far away from the noise of the present. In a medieval village, the days were slow and peaceful, filled with routine and ritual, where every action, no matter how small, was part of a larger, unspoken harmony. Let your mind wander as we step into this world, a world where time moved at its own pace, and every detail, from the clink of a hammer to the soft bleat of sheep in the distance, was a part of the peaceful rhythm of life. The sun is just beginning to rise, casting a soft golden light over the village. In the quiet stillness of the early morning, the first sounds to fill the air are the soft calls of roosters, their crowing echoing over the low wooden houses with thatched roofs. The earth is still cool from the night, the grass covered with dew, and the air smells fresh with the scent of the open fields. A small, peaceful village like this would have been made up of only a few dozen homes, all built from wood, stone, and thatch. The houses are simple, with small windows and doors, just enough to keep out the chill of the night. Inside, the rooms are dimly lit by flickering candlelight, and the smell of fresh bread baking on the hearth slowly fills the air. At the crack of dawn, the village awakens. One by one, families begin to stir from their slumber. Mothers and fathers, sons and daughters begin their day by lighting the small fires that will warm their homes. The hearth is central to every home, a constant source of warmth, and it's where the day's work will begin. You can imagine a young mother, her face still soft with sleep, standing at the hearth, stirring a pot of porridge with wooden spoons. The fire crackles gently as the thick smell of oats and barley fills the room. She hums a quiet tune as she works, preparing breakfast for her family. The hearth, glowing with warmth, casts dancing shadows on the walls, while outside, the day slowly unfurls. The father, waking to the quiet stirrings inside, gets dressed in simple woolen clothing. He pulls on his boots and heads out to tend to the animals. His footsteps are soft on the earth as he makes his way to the small pen at the edge of the village where the sheep are grazing lazily. The sheep, some still bleating softly, are the lifeblood of the village, providing wool for clothing, milk for the young ones, and meat when the time is right. Outside, you see the mist slowly lifting from the fields. The sun's warm fingers stretch over the land, and the flowers, delicate and colorful, begin to open, unfurling like soft smiles to greet the day. The marketplace. As the day progresses, the heart of the village begins to stir. The marketplace. It's not like the bustling marketplaces you might imagine today. No, this market is small and intimate. It's a place where everyone knows each other, where each person's wares are simple, practical, and necessary for everyday life. The market is set up in a small square, the ground covered with straw to absorb the mud. Wooden tables, some carved with intricate patterns, are laid out with fresh bread, bundles of herbs, and small wooden trinkets. The smell of freshly baked bread fills the air, mixing with the earthy scent of vegetables and herbs. A friendly merchant, an older man with a white beard and a warm smile, stands behind his table, carefully arranging small pouches of dried herbs and sacks of grains. Beside him, his daughter arranges bundles of fresh vegetables, their colors vibrant and rich: tomatoes, carrots, and leafy greens. As you wander the market, the sound of light chatter fills the air. Villagers, their faces weathered by the years of hard work, greet one another with quiet smiles. There is a sense of calm camaraderie in the way they exchange news, goods, and pleasantries. Some barter over the price of grains or herbs, while others simply chat about the weather or the health of their animals. In the distance, you can hear the soft sound of a blacksmith hammering iron at his forge. His rhythmic strikes are steady and measured, filling the village with the comforting sound of work being done. The blacksmith is one of the most respected figures in the village, known for his skill in crafting tools, nails, and weapons. But even with all the work being done, the pace of life remains slow and steady. There's no rush. People linger in the market, chatting, laughing, and exchanging pleasantries, enjoying the simple moments of daily life.
The afternoon routine. As the afternoon sun climbs higher, the village becomes quiet once again. The marketplace gradually empties as villagers head back to their homes or fields. The sound of tools clinking, animals moving, and soft voices calling out to one another fills the air. The father, having finished his work with the animals, heads to the fields. He walks slowly, his feet sinking into the soft earth, and you can see the sweat glistening on his brow as he moves with purpose. The crops are ready to be tended, the wheat swaying gently in the breeze. He moves methodically, checking each plant, ensuring the land is healthy and thriving. It's slow work, but it's necessary. The health of the land determines the health of the village. Back at home, the children play in the yard, their laughter light and carefree. They run and jump in the open space, chasing after each other as the sun casts long shadows across the ground. They are innocent and full of life, their faces glowing with the joy of childhood. The mother, still at the hearth, continues with her work. Perhaps she is preparing the midday meal, a hearty stew, rich with vegetables and chunks of meat. The scent of the food wafts through the air, making everyone's stomachs rumble in anticipation. This is the rhythm of life in the village, a constant cycle of work and rest, of simple joys and quiet moments. There's no rush, no pressure. The day flows like a gentle river, each moment blending seamlessly into the next.
Evening and the quiet close of day. As the sun begins to dip behind the horizon, the village grows quiet once more. The evening bell rings, signaling the end of the day's work. The father returns from the fields, his hands rough but satisfied with the day's labor. He takes a moment to sit on the porch, letting the cool evening breeze wash over him. The mother calls the children inside for supper, and they gather around the table, their faces glowing in the soft light of the hearth. There is a moment of stillness before the meal is served, a time when the family reflects on the day. There is no need for words. The comfort of the routine is enough. The meal is simple but filling: stew with thick slices of bread, perhaps a side of fresh fruit. It's not fancy, but it's satisfying. The fire crackles softly in the background, adding warmth to the room. The day is winding down, the sounds of the village growing quieter as night settles in. The sky outside is darkening, the stars slowly appearing one by one in the clear, crisp night. The moon begins its gentle rise over the horizon, casting a soft silver glow over the village. Inside the home, the family settles in for the night. The children, tired from their day, curl up in their beds, their faces peaceful as they drift off to sleep. The mother and father share a quiet moment, perhaps speaking in soft voices about the day or the future, before finally turning in for the night. And as the last embers of the fire flicker out, the village settles into a peaceful slumber, ready to begin the cycle once more when the morning sun rises again.
The rhythms of the seasons. As the days slowly pass, each one quietly fades into the next. The seasons begin their gentle turn, each bringing its own set of routines, each with its own flavor of work. The village lives in rhythm with the land, as natural and unhurried as the growing of trees or the blooming of flowers. In the spring, the air is fresh, tinged with the scent of new growth. The fields begin to wake from the long sleep of winter, and farmers begin the delicate work of planting. Their hands, calloused and steady, move in practiced rhythm as they sow seeds into the soft, moist earth. The rhythm of planting is slow and meditative. The sun, still young in the sky, bathes the land in a soft, golden glow, and there is a sense of hope that fills the air. It's a time of renewal, of new beginnings. The gentle sounds of children playing can be heard near the edge of the village, where the tall grass grows. They run barefoot through the wildflowers, laughing with each other as they explore the world around them. They are as much a part of the land as the wind, the soil, and the trees. Their carefree laughter blends with the rustling of the leaves, creating a soft symphony of life in the village. As the sun reaches its peak, you might find the women of the village outside their homes, tending to gardens or working on the spinning wheel, turning flax into thread. The hum of the wheel is soothing, a rhythmic sound that becomes a part of the village's gentle heartbeat. The garden, small and humble, is a place where many quiet moments are spent. It's a place where herbs like rosemary, thyme, and lavender grow, their scents mingling in the air, creating a calming aroma. The garden provides not only food and herbs for medicinal purposes, but also a sense of peace. Each plant is tended to with care, each one offering something of value to the family. As the day wanes, the work slows. The evening bells ring, and the whole village begins to quiet down. The workers, having spent the day in the fields, return to their homes. They may gather with their families around the hearth, where the warmth of the fire creates a sense of security and comfort. The flames flicker gently, casting soft shadows on the stone walls, and the soft murmur of conversation fills the air as the evening meal is prepared. It is during these quiet moments, as dusk begins to settle in, that the village feels most at peace. The work of the day is done, and there's nothing more to do but to rest, to reflect, and to be present in the simplicity of life. The night sky, dark and full of stars, stretches above the village. The moon, gentle and pale, casts a soft light on the roofs of the thatched homes. There is no hurry, no rush. Everything is as it should be. In the village, time flows like a calm stream, never hurried, never forced.
The changing of the seasons. The change of seasons, like the passing of time, is subtle yet profound. Each season brings with it its own way of life, its own set of tasks, but each also brings moments of beauty and peace that are worth savoring. As summer arrives, the village bursts with life. The fields, now full of ripening crops, sway gently in the breeze. The air is warm, carrying with it the scent of fresh hay and the sounds of bees buzzing lazily from flower to flower. The days are longer, the sun lingers in the sky, and there is an abundance of food. The market is fuller as the harvest begins to come in. Farmers can be seen bringing carts filled with vegetables, fruits, and grain to sell. The men and women of the village greet each other warmly as they barter, their voices soft but steady. The work is still plentiful, but it has a slower pace. The villagers have learned to move with the seasons, to flow with the natural rhythms of the earth. There is no sense of urgency. Everything happens in its own time, and the harvest is a celebration of that. The evenings are long and sweet. As the sun sets, the village becomes bathed in the soft glow of twilight. The colors of the sky shift from deep blues to gentle purples, and the air cools, bringing relief from the heat of the day. The evening meal is enjoyed in the warm glow of the hearth, and families settle into a comfortable quiet with the soft sounds of a lullaby or a whispered prayer drifting through the rooms. In the winter, the village slows even further. The cold, crisp air brings a quiet stillness to the land. The fields are bare and the trees stand without their leaves, their skeletal branches reaching up into the gray sky. The days are shorter and the nights stretch long and silent. But there is a peacefulness in the winter, a time for rest and reflection. The villagers spend their days inside, gathered around the hearths, telling stories, knitting, weaving, or simply resting. There is no rush. The stillness of winter is a time for contemplation and quiet joy. The sounds of the crackling fire, the soft hum of a spinning wheel, and the light chatter of the family become the soundtrack of the season.
The life of a medieval villager may have been simple, but it was also rich with meaning. The villagers did not seek fame, fortune, or great wealth, but instead they sought contentment in the small moments, the warmth of the hearth, the laughter of children, the quiet satisfaction of a day's work. It is a reminder, as we drift further into this peaceful world, that sometimes the greatest riches are the ones that cannot be measured by gold or possessions. It's in the quiet beauty of a garden in bloom, the steady rhythm of a hammer at work, the soft glow of the moon over a peaceful village. And as the day fades, as the moon rises higher into the sky, the peacefulness of the village remains. The work may pause, but the sense of quiet contentment does not. In the soft rustling of the wind through the trees, the village is lulled to sleep, awaiting another peaceful day. As we near the end of this quiet day in the village, let yourself relax into the stillness of the night. The sounds of the village have quieted, the laughter and chatter of the day replaced by the soft whisper of the wind. The village is peaceful, and you, too, are at peace. Take a deep breath, letting the calm of the village wash over you. There is nothing more to do but to rest, to drift off into the comfort of sleep, knowing that tomorrow will bring more of the same simple joys. Good night, and may your dreams be as calm and peaceful as the life in the medieval village.
The life of the elderly. As time passes, the village remains steady, moving along with the changing of the seasons and the quiet rhythms of work and rest. Among the villagers, there are those who have seen many years pass, men and women who have lived through the cycles of the seasons countless times, who have weathered the storms and basked in the warm sun of many summers. The elderly in the village are seen as a source of wisdom and comfort. Their lives are intertwined with the history of the village itself, and their stories are cherished by all who listen. In the late afternoons, when the sun begins its slow descent behind the hills, you may find an elder sitting quietly by the hearth or on the porch of their home. Their face is lined with the marks of time, their hands weathered by years of work, but their eyes still hold the calm spark of someone who has seen the world change and has learned to flow with it. Sometimes the children of the village will visit the elderly, sitting at their feet as they tell stories of times long past. These stories are not filled with great adventures or dramatic events, but rather with small moments, stories of harvests, of quiet walks in the woods, of the simple pleasures that make life beautiful. These tales are told in a soft, slow voice, the kind of voice that makes the listener feel safe, as if they are wrapped in warmth and care. The elderly person might share tales of how the village has changed over the years, how the fields were once smaller, how the roads were once just dirt paths, or how the trees have grown tall and strong. They might speak of the old ways of doing things, the ways their parents and grandparents lived, and how, even though the world has changed, the essence of life in the village has remained the same. As evening falls, the elders are often the first to bed, content in the knowledge that they have lived a full life. Their rest is peaceful as the village grows quieter around them. They sleep soundly, wrapped in the comfort of the quiet, knowing that the next day will bring more of the same, the steady rhythm of life. The village community. In the medieval village, there is a strong sense of community. Everyone knows each other, and while each person may have their own tasks to attend to, there is a deep understanding that they are all part of something larger, a family, a village, a way of life. The villagers share their joys, their burdens, and their time with one another. The communal feeling is especially apparent during the harvest season. While the work is still demanding, there is a sense of unity that makes it easier to bear. The villagers work together, gathering the crops, storing the grains, and sharing the bounty. There is no sense of competition here. Rather, there is a quiet camaraderie, a shared understanding that everyone's work is vital to the well-being of the whole village. On a calm afternoon, you might find groups of villagers sitting together, resting after a long day's work. They may share food, talk about their day, and help one another with small tasks. The conversation is gentle, sometimes about the weather, other times about the crops, but there is always a feeling of warmth and connection in the air. Even in moments of hardship, the villagers band together. When a storm comes through, they help each other rebuild, repair the roofs, and care for those who are ill. It is this quiet, unspoken bond that keeps the village strong. There is something deeply soothing about the sense of community in a place like this, a feeling of belonging, of being part of something larger than oneself. Each person's life, no matter how small, contributes to the greater whole, and in that, there is peace.
The role of religion in the village. Religion plays a quiet, integral role in the life of the medieval village. While it may not dominate every conversation, it is a part of the fabric of daily life. The villagers believe in a higher power, and their faith guides them in everything they do, from the way they farm to the way they care for each other. The village church, often made of stone with a tall, slender spire that can be seen from anywhere in the village, is the center of religious life. Inside, the air smells of wood and candles, and the soft glow of light from the stained glass windows fills the room. The sound of the priest's voice, low and comforting, can be heard as he recites prayers or tells stories of saints. The villagers gather at the church on Sundays, or sometimes more often if the need arises, to listen, to pray, and to find solace. The community comes together in this sacred space, their voices blending in quiet hymns and prayers. There is a sense of peace here, as the walls of the church echo with the soft sounds of devotion. It is a time to reflect, to renew one's spirit, and to connect with the eternal. After the service, the villagers might linger for a while, talking softly with one another, exchanging words of comfort or joy. It is a peaceful time, a time to rest the body and the mind, to be in community, and to share the quiet grace that is found in simple moments of connection. The end of the day. As the sun begins to set, casting long shadows over the land, the village begins its slow wind-down. The workers, having spent the day in the fields, return to their homes. The evening meal is prepared, and the air grows cooler as the day fades into night. The village is bathed in the soft glow of the setting sun, the colors of the sky shifting from gold to orange to purple. There is a quiet stillness in the air as people begin to prepare for rest. Some might sit outside their homes, watching the last moments of the day pass by, while others gather in the warmth of their homes, content in the simplicity of the evening. The sounds of the day fade away. The chatter, the hammering, the rustling of the animals, all replaced by the peaceful silence of night. The only sounds left
are the whispers of the wind and the occasional call of an owl in the distance. Inside, the children are tucked into bed, their faces peaceful as they drift off to sleep. The parents sit by the fire for a moment, perhaps sharing a quiet conversation or simply enjoying the warmth and calm of the evening. As the fire burns low and the last embers flicker out, the village falls into a deep, restful slumber, awaiting the peaceful rhythm of another day.
The importance of the family. In the heart of the village, family is everything. It's in the shared meals, the quiet moments around the hearth, the soft laughter of children as they play, and the gentle guidance of elders. The family unit is the core of the village, where life begins and ends. The daily routines, while shaped by the needs of the land and work, are always enriched by the love and warmth of family. At dawn, the family comes together around the hearth. The mother stirs a pot of porridge, the father tends to the fire, and the children, still sleepy-eyed, gather around the table. The warmth of the fire and the scent of breakfast fill the air, creating a sense of comfort and belonging. Even before the day begins in earnest, the family shares these small, quiet moments. As the day unfolds, each member of the family has a role to play. The older children might help with the animals or fetch water from the well, while the younger ones gather around the mother as she works. There's a softness to the way they interact, a gentle rhythm of work and play that flows throughout the day. Every task, from washing the dishes to mending clothes, is done with care, not just for the work itself, but for the well-being of everyone in the home. After the evening meal, the family gathers together again. The father might tell stories of his youth, or perhaps the mother sings a lullaby to help the children drift to sleep. These stories, though often simple, carry the weight of tradition and wisdom. They are passed down through generations, each one adding its own layer of meaning and wisdom. At night, as the fire flickers low and the village becomes still, the family huddles together under warm blankets, content in the safety of each other's company. The world outside might be cold or dark or uncertain, but within the home, there is warmth, security, and love. It is this sense of togetherness, this gentle rhythm of family life that carries the village through each day, no matter what challenges it may face. The importance of the family. In the heart of the village, family is everything. It's in the shared meals, the quiet moments around the hearth, the soft laughter of children as they play, and the gentle guidance of elders. The family unit is the core of the village, where life begins and ends. The daily routines, while shaped by the needs of the land and work, are always enriched by the love and warmth of family. At dawn, the family comes together around the hearth. The mother stirs a pot of porridge, the father tends to the fire, and the children, still sleepy-eyed, gather around the table. The warmth of the fire and the scent of breakfast fill the air, creating a sense of comfort and belonging. Even before the day begins in earnest, the family shares these small, quiet moments. As the day unfolds, each member of the family has a role to play. The older children might help with the animals or fetch water from the well, while the younger ones gather around the mother as she works. There's a softness to the way they interact, a gentle rhythm of work and play that flows throughout the day. Every task, from washing the dishes to mending clothes, is done with care, not just for the work itself, but for the well-being of everyone in the home. After the evening meal, the family gathers together again. The father might tell stories of his youth, or perhaps the mother sings a lullaby to help the children drift to sleep. These stories, though often simple, carry the weight of tradition and wisdom. They are passed down through generations, each one adding its own layer of meaning and wisdom. At night, as the fire flickers low and the village becomes still, The family huddles together under warm blankets, content in the safety of each other's company. The world outside might be cold or dark or uncertain, but within the home there is warmth, security, and love. It is this sense of togetherness, this gentle rhythm of family life that carries the village through each day, no matter what challenges it may face.
The quiet nature of work. Work in the medieval village is essential, but it is never rushed. There is no clock to punch, no deadlines to meet. The work is steady, slow, and satisfying in its own way. It is driven not by urgency, but by the rhythms of nature, the changing seasons, and the needs of the community. The blacksmith, for example, is never in a hurry, even as he hammers away at the iron. His strokes are measured and deliberate, each one contributing to the creation of tools, horseshoes, or the occasional weapon. The sound of his hammer hitting metal is a steady beat, a reminder that all work, no matter how small, is part of a larger, unhurried process. The weaver, too, works with a steady hand, her loom moving back and forth in a gentle rhythm. She creates cloth not just for her family, but for the whole village. The weaving process is slow, deliberate, and calm. There is no rush to finish the work, only the satisfaction of creating something useful and beautiful with her hands. Even the farmers, out in the fields, move slowly. They don't work in haste. Instead, they bend low to the earth, their hands gently turning the soil, planting seeds, and later harvesting crops. Their work is quiet and purposeful, with each season offering its own rhythm to follow. The land is their partner, and they have learned to move with its slow, patient cycle. The pace of work in the village is a far cry from the fast-moving world we know today. It's a reminder that some things, like the growth of a plant, the forging of metal, or the creation of cloth, take time. They require patience, dedication, and, most importantly, an understanding that life is not a race. It's a journey, and each step, no matter how small, is an important part of the whole.
The comfort of nature. The village is surrounded by nature, and nature is a constant, calming presence. Whether it's the gentle sound of the wind rustling through the trees, the soft croaking of frogs by the pond, or the delicate chirping of birds in the morning, the natural world is always there, offering comfort and peace. In the spring and summer, the fields and forests are alive with color. The flowers bloom in a riot of reds, yellows, and purples, their petals soft and delicate. The air is thick with the scent of fresh grass, the earth rich and full of life. The village feels connected to the land in a deep, almost spiritual way. It is a place where nature and people exist in harmony, each dependent on the other. In the fall, the trees slowly change their colors, the leaves turning to gold and crimson before gently falling to the ground. The crisp autumn air carries the scent of wood smoke and the promise of the harvest. The village prepares for the colder months, gathering firewood and preserving food. But even in this work, there is a peaceful rhythm. The rustling of the leaves, the crisp sound underfoot, the quiet fall of the acorns, all of these are reminders that life continues at its own pace. As winter arrives, the village becomes a quiet, peaceful place. The snow, soft and gentle, falls quietly on the ground, blanketing the village in white. The world outside slows, becoming still and silent. The villagers, safe inside their homes, listen to the quiet, broken only by the occasional sound of the wind or the soft whisper of snowflakes falling to the earth. The night stretches long, but it is never lonely. The village is wrapped in the comfort of its own peaceful rhythm, the slow passing of time marked only by the cycles of nature.
The peaceful ending of the day. As the day begins to wind down, the village once again falls into a peaceful silence. The last of the work is finished, and the last light of the sun fades from the sky. The village is bathed in the soft glow of twilight, the shadows long and stretching across the fields. Inside the homes, families gather one last time before bed. The warmth of the hearth fills the rooms, and the smell of the evening meal lingers in the air. The world outside may be cold or dark, but inside there is warmth, safety, and peace. The night sky above is a blanket of stars, gentle and still. The moon rises slowly, casting a soft light over the village, illuminating the rooftops, the fields, and the trees. There is nothing more to do now but rest, to let the peace of the village lull you into a deep, restful sleep. And as the fire dies down and the embers fade to glowing coals, the village rests, awaiting another day. The cycle continues, slow and steady, the rhythm of life, ever gentle, ever calm. Good night.
The changing faces of the village. Over the years, the village, though steadfast in its rhythm, begins to see small changes. New families arrive, seeking the same peace and quiet that the village offers. They come from far-off lands, traveling through forests, across rivers, and over hills. They bring with them different customs, different ways of living, but always with the same goal: to find a home where the pace of life is gentle, where the land is kind, and where the community feels like family. As new faces settle into the village, they are welcomed with open arms. The older villagers share their knowledge and wisdom, teaching the newcomers about the rhythms of the land, the care of animals, and the traditions that keep the village running smoothly. The bond between the villagers, old and new, grows slowly, like a plant taking root in the soil. Over time, the newcomers become as much a part of the village as those who have been there for generations. Even though these new families bring their own ways of life, there is a quiet understanding that the essence of village life remains unchanged. The work, the community, and the slow passage of time are constants that no change can alter. The new families settle into their new homes, work the land, and become part of the village's tapestry.
The daily rhythms of the elderly. As more years pass, the elderly become even more of a presence in the village, their faces weathered by time, their eyes soft with wisdom. They are the keepers of the village's stories, the ones who remember the days when the village was smaller, quieter, perhaps even more isolated. They are the living history of the community, and their memories are treasured by all who listen. In the mornings, you may see them sitting by their windows, looking out over the fields, their hands folded in their laps. There is no hurry for them, no rush. They have earned their rest, and now they enjoy the simple pleasure of watching the world unfold outside their homes. Some of them may still tend small gardens, working their fingers through the soil, but most find their greatest joy in sharing stories with the younger generations. In the afternoons, the elderly may gather together, sitting under a large oak tree or in a quiet corner of the village square. They speak in soft voices, sharing their experiences, their memories, and their wisdom. The younger villagers might join them, sitting quietly, listening to the tales of the past. The stories they share are simple but important. Stories of harvests, of winters spent inside by the fire, of the animals they cared for, and of the festivals they once celebrated. These are not tales of grand adventures, but of quiet lives lived with care and attention to the details of the world around them. As evening falls, the elderly retire to their homes early. They are content, having lived their lives fully, having seen the changes in the village and in the world, and having played their part in the gentle rhythm of life. They sleep soundly, knowing that the village will continue to live on, just as it always has, with the same calmness, the same peace.
A world of simple pleasures,
In this medieval village, the simple pleasures are what make life worth living. There is no need for the distractions of the modern world, no desire for fame or wealth. The villagers are content in the small, everyday moments that come with each new day. The pleasure of walking through the fields at dawn, feeling the cool earth beneath their feet, is enough. The joy of seeing a new lamb born, the excitement of the first fruits of the harvest, and the quiet satisfaction of sitting down to a warm meal at the end of the day are the rewards of life. The village is full of these simple pleasures, sitting by the fire, chatting with friends, and watching the sunset over the hills. These are the things that bring peace to the heart, the things that remind the villagers of what truly matters. The rush of the outside world is distant and forgotten here. In the village, life is measured not by the clock, but by the rhythms of the earth, the seasons, and the community. Even the most mundane tasks are filled with quiet satisfaction. A woman sweeping the floor of her home, a man sharpening his tools, a child gathering firewood. All of these actions are done with care and attention, for there is no rush. Each task, no matter how small, is part of the larger, unhurried flow of life. There is a deep sense of gratitude for these small moments. The villagers understand that life is fleeting, and so they savor every detail. The sound of birdsong in the morning, the feeling of the earth underfoot, the taste of fresh bread. These are the things that make life rich, that fill the heart with contentment.
The steady flow of time. The passing of time in the medieval village is like a river, slow, steady, and constant. The years flow by, each one blending into the next, but there is no urgency to keep up. Time in the village is not measured by hours or minutes, but by the cycles of nature, the growth of crops, and the changing of the seasons. In spring, the land wakes up, and the villagers begin their work once again. In summer, the days stretch long and warm, and the air is full of life. In fall, the harvest is brought in, and the village prepares for the cold months ahead. And in winter, the village slows, becoming a quiet, peaceful place to rest and reflect. Each season brings with it a sense of purpose, but also a sense of peace. There is no race to accomplish things, no pressure to keep up with the fast-moving world outside. Instead, there is a gentle, unhurried flow that fills the village. Each day, each season, each moment is part of the larger, timeless rhythm of life. And as the sun sets each evening, casting long shadows across the village, there is a quiet sense of fulfillment. The work of the day is done, and the village rests. The fire burns low in the hearth, and the stars twinkle in the sky. The village sleeps, waiting for the dawn of a new day, when the gentle rhythm of life will begin again. A life of contentment. As the village drifts into night, the quiet beauty of the world is felt more deeply than ever. There is no urgency to get things done, no distractions to pull you away from the peaceful moment at hand. The slow, steady rhythm of life in the village is a reminder that happiness can be found in the simplest of things, like the warmth of a fire, the smell of freshly baked bread, the sound of a loved one's voice, and the gentle embrace of sleep. As the day ends and the village sleeps, we too can find peace in the quiet moments. There is no need to worry about what comes next, for in this village, all is calm, all is steady, and all is well. So, as you close your eyes, let the peaceful rhythm of the village carry you into a deep and restful sleep. There is no rush, no need to hurry. Let the calmness of the world you've just visited fill you with tranquility. And know that, just like the villagers, you are safe, you are cared for, and you are part of a peaceful world. Good night, and may your dreams be as gentle as the quiet life of the medieval village.
The seasonal rhythms of the land. In the quiet flow of life within the village, one of the most calming aspects is the natural rhythm of the land itself.
The villagers live in harmony with the cycles of nature, and every season brings its own tasks, beauty, and peaceful repetition. Spring is a time of renewal and growth. The earth, after months of winter rest, begins to warm and awaken. The first signs of life appear as the trees begin to bud and delicate wildflowers poke through the soil. The villagers, having survived the cold months, are filled with a quiet optimism. The days are still cool, but the air is fresh with the scent of the earth coming to life. The farmers, after a long winter, begin to prepare the fields. They till the soil, gently turning the earth, which is soft and rich after months of frost. There is no hurry in this work, only careful planning, as each seed is placed in the soil with hope for the future. Children, eager to play in the warming air, run through the fields. Their laughter, a soft, joyful sound that mingles with the gentle rustle of leaves and the hum of bees. It's a time when the whole village feels the promise of new beginnings, where the quiet pulse of life seems to pick up ever so slightly, but still without haste. Even the air, fresh with the smell of damp earth and blooming flowers, feels like a soft caress against the skin. Summer brings warmth, the sun shining brightly over the fields. The village is busy during this time, with everyone involved in the harvests. Yet still, there is an ease to the work. The long days stretch lazily into the evening, and the village feels alive with activity, but the work is done with a steady, almost meditative rhythm.
In the cool mornings, the villagers can be seen walking in the early light, taking in the beauty of the land they work so hard to cultivate. Summer in the village is full of simple joys, gathering crops from the fields, sharing food with neighbors, sitting outside to watch the sunset behind the hills, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. There is a quiet satisfaction in these moments, the feeling of having everything you need in the present, not rushing toward the future. Fall is a time of abundance and preparation. The harvest is gathered, and there's a sense of contentment in the air. The crops have been brought in, and the villagers begin their work of storing the food for the colder months ahead. The days grow shorter, and there's a chill in the air, but still, the village moves slowly. The leaves of the trees turn vibrant shades of gold, red, and brown, and the sound of them rustling underfoot is soothing, like a soft blanket falling from the sky. This is a time for reflection as well, a moment when the villagers look back at the hard work of the year and take stock of what they've accomplished. There is peace in knowing that the land has provided for them once again, that the winter will be spent in warmth and comfort. The nights grow longer, and the cool breeze brings with it a sense of quiet gratitude for the past months. Winter settles over the village with a quiet grace. The land, now blanketed in snow, is still and silent. The world outside the village is muffled by the snow, the wind softening to a gentle breeze that whispers through the trees. The village, like the earth, rests. It's a time for slowing down, for being still. The work of the previous seasons has been done, and now it's time for the villagers to focus on staying warm and caring for one another. Families gather around the hearth, their faces bathed in the soft, flickering light of the fire. The children curl up in blankets by the fire, listening to stories told by the elders, stories of times long past, stories of the same simple life the village has always known. The cold outside only seems to make the warmth inside more precious. There is a quiet, contented joy in this time as the world seems to slow and the village settles into a peaceful slumber, awaiting the coming of spring.
The role of the village elder. The elder is often the one who carries the wisdom of the village, holding the knowledge of the past like a treasure chest. They are not in a hurry. Time has softened them, and they carry a quiet presence that brings peace to all who are around them. The elder's home is often modest, tucked away on the edge of the village or near the church, and it's always a place of comfort.
Inside, the fire burns brightly, the smell of herbs and wood smoke filling the air. There is an air of quiet reverence around the elder, whether they are sitting by the hearth, sewing by candlelight, or simply gazing out the window at the village. They exude calm and wisdom. They do not speak often, but when they do, their words are measured, each one spoken slowly and with purpose. Often, the village children will visit the elder, sitting at their feet to listen to stories of the village's past. These stories are not filled with excitement or dramatic turns. They are tales of small, meaningful moments. A time when the harvest was abundant, a moment of quiet joy shared with a friend, the changing of the seasons in the village. These stories are not just stories. They are the fabric of the village's existence, passed down from one generation to the next. The elder stories connect the present with the past, reminding the villagers of where they came from and helping them appreciate the beauty of the simple life they lead. The calm rhythm of nightfall. As the evening draws near, the village settles into the peaceful quiet of the night. The sun sinks low behind the hills, casting a warm, golden glow over the fields. The long shadows stretch out, and the air cools, carrying the crisp scent of evening dew. Inside the homes, the last meal of the day is shared, and the work of the day comes to an end. The family gathers together, often by the hearth, where the fire crackles softly, casting dancing shadows on the walls. The conversation is soft, often about the day's small happenings or about the future, a quiet, hopeful talk about the coming months. As the night deepens, the village grows still. The last flickers of light from the hearth fade as the fire dies down, and the sounds of the night take over. The wind whispers softly through the trees. The distant hoot of an owl is heard in the night air, and the village rests, wrapped in the quiet warmth of the earth and the peace of the community. As you lie here, let yourself rest just as the village rests, knowing that the cycle of life, slow and steady, will continue as it always has. There is no rush, no urgency, just the quiet comfort of the present moment, the peacefulness of the village, and the steady rhythm of time moving forward gently and without haste. Good night, and may your dreams be as calm and restful as the peaceful life in the medieval village.
The importance of the seasons to the villagers. In the village, the changing of the seasons isn't just a passing event, it's woven into the very fabric of daily life. The villagers live in tune with the cycles of the earth, and each season brings a distinct rhythm, which gently influences their lives and actions. Spring, with its crisp mornings and the smell of wet earth, is a season of renewal. The ground is worked gently as the first crops are planted. Farmers take their time, ensuring that the seeds are sown carefully, hoping for good growth. The work feels light, full of promise, yet there's no rush. Every action is deliberate, and the villagers move in sync with the rhythm of nature. They know the earth will take its time to bear fruit, and so they are patient, tending their crops with care and quiet hope. The animals, too, reflect the changes of spring. Lambs and calves are born, their soft bleats adding a pleasant, gentle noise to the otherwise quiet morning. The sound of chickens clucking and the lowing of cows create a backdrop for the peaceful daily routines. The air is fresh with the scent of new leaves and the warmth of the sun breaking through the cool, lingering winds of winter. In summer, the days stretch long and the village is busier. Though the pace is still calm, there's a gentle hum of activity as the villagers tend to their crops, harvest grains, and work the land. The heat of the day brings a sense of tranquility, as the whole village seems to move with the rhythm of the sun. The children play in the fields, their laughter mixing with the sound of crickets and the rustling of the leaves in the warm breeze. By the time the evening arrives, the village gathers to rest.
Families sit together under the large leafy trees, and the golden light from the setting sun bathes everything in a peaceful glow. The air cools, and the sound of the river flowing gently in the distance adds to the peaceful atmosphere. This is the time for relaxation, where people talk softly, and their voices seem to blend into the natural world around them. As fall settles in, the earth gives its final bounty. The harvest comes in, and the villagers begin their preparations for the winter months ahead. They work together, gathering apples, nuts, and vegetables, and preserving them for the colder times. The scent of autumn fills the air, earthy and sweet, as the leaves turn colors and begin to fall.
There's a quiet beauty to the fall. The air is crisp, and every breath feels fresh. The work becomes slower, but no less meaningful. The villagers know that the fruits of their labor will nourish them in the months to come. Even though the days are shorter and the cold begins to creep in, there's a sense of satisfaction in knowing that they have prepared well. The sounds of the village are filled with the rustling of dry leaves, the quiet footsteps of those working, and the peaceful hum of life going on as usual. By the time winter arrives, the village slows even further. The fields lie bare beneath a blanket of snow, and the trees stand still, their branches reaching up into the pale sky. The quiet beauty of winter is evident as everything outside seems to rest, waiting for the warmth of spring to return. The villagers, too, slow their pace. The harvest has been gathered, and now is a time for rest and reflection. Inside the homes, the family gathers around the hearth, the warmth of the fire filling the room. The soft crackle of the fire and the flicker of the flames provide comfort as the cold wind howls outside. The evening stretches long, and the villagers spend their time in quiet companionship. There's no rush. The work is done, and the village rests, wrapped in the warmth of community and the slow rhythm of life.
The role of festivals and celebrations. Though life in the village is usually quiet and focused on the rhythms of nature, there are times when the villagers come together to celebrate. Festivals, though rare, are moments of joy and togetherness. These celebrations are simple but meaningful, bringing the village closer and providing a sense of relief from the quiet routine of everyday life. During these festivals, the village square is alive with the soft sound of music and laughter. Families gather together to share food, sing songs, and dance in circles, their feet moving gently with the rhythm of the music. There's a simplicity to the festivities, no grand displays or noisy parades, but a quiet joy that fills the air. The music, usually played on simple instruments like flutes, fiddles, and drums, is soft and gentle. It doesn't drive the villagers into a frenzy, but invites them to move slowly and with grace, to feel the music in their hearts rather than their feet. The food at these festivals is always simple: bread, stew, fresh vegetables, and fruits. There is no rush to eat, no need to hurry through the meal. Everyone takes their time, savoring the food and enjoying the company of others. At these festivals, the villagers forget about the tasks of the day and the work that lies ahead. For just a few hours, they allow themselves to be carefree, to enjoy the warmth of friendship, the beauty of music, and the quiet joy of being together. The quiet blessings of the village. As night falls and the festival winds down, the village returns to its peaceful, familiar rhythms. The music fades away, the laughter softens, and the families make their way back to their homes. There is no hurry. The work will begin again in the morning, but for now, the villagers rest, knowing they have shared something beautiful together. The stars begin to twinkle in the sky above, the soft light casting a gentle glow over the village. The wind is calm, the night still. The only sounds are the soft rustling of the trees and the distant call of an owl. Everything is at peace. The villagers slowly drift off to sleep,
each one finding comfort in the quiet of the night. The world outside may be cold, but inside their homes they are safe, warm, and content. The simple beauty of the village lies in its rhythm, the steady, unhurried pace of life, the focus on the present moment, and the quiet contentment that comes from living in harmony with the land. It is a life without rush, a life without pressure, a life that flows gently like a stream, always moving forward but never hurrying. As the village sleeps, so do we, drifting peacefully into a calm, restful sleep, knowing that we too are part of the gentle rhythm of life. As the days pass in the village, the bond between the land and its people becomes even more evident. The villagers do not simply live on the land, they live with the land. It is a delicate balance of respect and care, one where every action is considered and every step taken with mindfulness. The work they do is not seen as a burden, but as a natural part of life itself. There is no rush, no sense of needing to do more than what is required. Instead, there is a quiet understanding that every task, no matter how small, is part of the greater cycle of nature. The farmer rises early in the morning, greeted by the gentle hum of birds singing in the trees. The air is still cool, but the warmth of the sun soon begins to touch the earth, bringing the promise of a new day. The farmer moves slowly through the fields, each step taken carefully. The rhythm of planting is soft, measured, and deliberate. The earth is their companion, and they work with it, not against it. There is something peaceful in the way the work unfolds. The soil is rich and dark, the seeds small and round, but each one carries the potential to grow into something beautiful and nourishing. It's not a race to finish the task, but a steady commitment to the land and the future. Nearby, the women of the village gather in their homes to begin their work as well. Some are spinning wool, their hands moving slowly and surely, creating thread from raw fibers. The sound of the spinning wheel is soft and rhythmic, a quiet lullaby of daily life. Others are weaving, their fingers deftly interlacing the fibers into intricate patterns. There's a calmness to this work, a sense of continuity that is reassuring. As the work continues through the day, the villagers feel no hurry. There are no deadlines, no expectations beyond what the land can give. The rhythm of the earth provides everything they need. The crops will grow, the animals will be cared for, and the community will flourish. The world outside may move faster, but here in the village, the pace is steady, and there is peace in that. The solitude and peace of the forest. Beyond the village lies the forest, a place of solitude and peace where the rush of life seems far away. The trees stand tall and strong, their branches reaching high into the sky. The air is cooler here, the ground soft beneath the feet, and the only sounds are the whisper of the wind through the leaves and the occasional rustle of small animals in the underbrush. The villagers often walk into the forest for quiet reflection or for gathering herbs, mushrooms, and firewood. It is a place where time seems to slow even further, where the sense of urgency disappears entirely. The pace of life in the forest is determined by the rhythm of nature itself. A walk through the woods is not hurried. Each step is taken slowly, with appreciation for the beauty that surrounds. As you walk through the forest, you can feel the deep peace it offers. The light filters through the branches in soft beams, casting gentle shadows on the forest floor. The air is fresh and earthy, filled with the scent of pine and moss. Each breath feels cleansing, as if the forest itself is inviting you to slow down, to stop and observe, to appreciate the small wonders that often go unnoticed in the hustle of the outside world. In the forest, the only goal is to be present, to walk without hurry, to listen to the rustling of the leaves, to take in the sights and sounds of the natural world. The peace of the forest seeps into the bones, soothing the mind and heart. It is a sanctuary from the rush of life, a reminder that sometimes the best way to live is to slow down and simply be. The rhythm of the seasons repeats. As the year continues its steady march through the seasons, the village and its people follow the same gentle rhythm. They do not rush to meet the changing weather, but instead they work with it, moving in harmony with the land's cycles. Each season brings its own beauty, its own set of tasks, but the underlying rhythm remains the same. Spring brings new life, new growth, and the promise of abundance. The soil is turned, seeds are planted, and hope fills the air. The first flowers bloom, and the trees begin to bud. The village, having survived the cold winter, is filled with the energy of renewal. The pace picks up ever so slightly, but still there is no rush. The work is done with care, and the days are filled with the quiet joy of watching the earth awaken. Summer, with its warmth and abundance, is a time of growth and harvest. The fields are full, the trees are heavy with fruit, and the animals are well fed. The village is alive with activity, but even in the busiest of times, there is still a peacefulness in the way the work is done. The days stretch long, and the evenings are spent in quiet reflection, watching the sunset paint the sky in rich colors. As fall arrives, the village slows again. The harvest is gathered, the animals are brought in for the winter, and preparations are made for the colder months. The land becomes quiet, the crops stored away, and the villagers begin to settle into the stillness of the season. There is a sense of satisfaction as the work of the year is completed, and the village feels at peace with the earth. Winter, with its quiet, still beauty, brings a time of rest. The village sleeps beneath a blanket of snow, and the world outside becomes calm and silent. The cold may be harsh, but the warmth of the hearth, the comfort of family, and the quiet rhythm of life bring a deep sense of peace. The villagers rest, knowing that the cycle will begin anew when the first sign of spring arrives. The simple blessing of everyday life. Life in the village is made up of small, simple moments, each one flowing gently into the next. The rhythm of the land and the pace of life guide the villagers through their days, creating a peaceful, fulfilling existence. There is no rush, no pressure to do more than what is necessary, and in that simplicity, there is great beauty. The sound of the wind in the trees, the soft clink of metal in the blacksmith shop, the quiet laughter of children playing in the fields, all of these are small blessings, quiet reminders of the beauty of life. The village doesn't need much to be content. The work is steady, the community is strong, and the earth provides everything they need. The beauty of life is found not in grand gestures or busy days, but in the quiet moments that make up the rhythm of daily life. As the night deepens, the village grows still. The work of the day is done, and the villagers rest, knowing that tomorrow will bring more of the same: quiet moments, steady work, and the gentle flow of life. The world outside may change, but the rhythm of the village remains the same, a peaceful, unhurried rhythm that will continue long after the night has passed.
The cycle of life and death in the village. In the village, life is a steady cycle, as constant and reliable as the seasons themselves. Birth, growth, aging, and death are all parts of this cycle. And though death is a natural part of life, it is treated with the same quiet reverence that marks every other phase. The villagers understand that life is fleeting, but they take comfort in the knowledge that everything comes full circle in time. When a child is born, the entire village celebrates. It is a time of joy as a new life is welcomed into the community. The baby is cradled in the arms of its mother, and its cries are met with warm smiles and kind words. The villagers often gather to offer gifts: small bundles of cloth, wool, or food as a sign of welcome. For the parents, this is a time of wonder as they look upon their child and see the promise of the future. The rhythm of the village continues, and the new life becomes a part of the steady beat that keeps it moving forward. As the child grows, they are taught the ways of the village, learning the steady rhythms of work, community, and nature. The children of the village play together in the fields, learning from their elders, absorbing the quiet wisdom passed down from generation to generation. The lessons are simple but profound: how to plant a seed, how to care for an animal, how to weave a basket, or how to cook a meal. Each task is taught with patience, the focus not on efficiency or perfection, but on the joy of learning and the connection to the earth and the people around them.
But, as with all things, time passes. The child becomes an adult, taking on their own responsibilities and adding their own rhythm to the village. They marry, have children of their own, and begin to live the life they were taught, continuing the cycle of work, family, and community. The years stretch on, each one unfolding with the same quiet certainty as the last. In time, the elderly begin to show signs of wear. Their hands, once strong and steady, may begin to tremble. Their steps slow, their voices become softer, and their eyes, though still bright, may carry the weight of years. But despite their age, they continue to live with the same calm rhythm, finding joy in the simple moments, the warmth of the fire, the company of family, the peace of knowing that their lives have been well lived. And eventually, the elderly pass on, leaving behind memories and stories. The village pauses to honor them, to give thanks for their years of wisdom and care. There is no grand mourning or dramatic sorrow. Instead, the passing is marked quietly, with a soft reverence. The villagers gather for a simple ceremony, offering prayers for the departed and holding space for the family. The cycle continues, and life goes on, unhurried and steady.
The quiet beauty of the night. As the days move on and the village continues its unhurried rhythm, the night remains a constant source of peace. The sky, stretching wide above the village, is an ever-present companion, and the stars, small, flickering beacons, serve as a reminder of the vastness of the world and the quietness of life. The villagers, having completed their daily tasks, retire to their homes as the sun sets. There is no rush to leave the outside world behind, no hurry to finish the evening. Instead, there is a slow winding down, as if the village is collectively taking a deep breath before the rest of the night. The warmth of the hearth fills the homes, and the smell of food, of bread and stew, lingers in the air. Children, tucked into bed, drift into sleep with the soft lull of the wind outside and the quiet crackle of the fire. Their small bodies curl under blankets, safe and warm, while the village outside rests. The night brings a sense of calm, a moment of stillness that allows the villagers to reflect, to appreciate the simplicity of their lives, and to prepare for the day ahead. As the fire dies down and the last embers glow faintly, the village slips into a peaceful silence. There is no sound of rushing water, no carriages or carts clattering over cobbled streets. Only the soft whisper of the wind, the rustle of leaves, and the quiet hum of the earth. The moon rises high above, casting a silvery glow on the thatched roofs and stone walls of the homes. The night feels safe, gentle, and full of possibilities, even if nothing more will happen until the morning. The world sleeps, as it has always slept, slowly, peacefully, in the quiet rhythm of life. The comfort of routine. In the village, routine is not a burden, but a comfort. It is a steady, reliable presence that shapes every day, from the moment the rooster crows at dawn to the moment the fire fades in the evening. There is no hurry to complete the day's work, no pressure to finish by a certain hour.
Instead, each task is done in its own time, with care and attention. The morning begins with the simple act of lighting the fire, of stirring the porridge, of checking the animals. These small, quiet tasks are a ritual, one that carries a sense of familiarity and peace. The villagers wake to the same rhythm each day, and there is a comfort in knowing what to expect. The work may change with the seasons, but the pace remains the same. During the day, the village hums with activity, but there is no rush. The fields are tended to, the animals cared for, the food prepared. The work is done not for the sake of efficiency, but because it is necessary and fulfilling. Each task is an act of connection to the land, to the animals, and to the people around them. It's a slow, steady rhythm that flows through the village, and it brings a sense of fulfillment that is not found in the hustle of the outside world. In the evening, the routine continues. The village quiets as the sun sets, and the family comes together for the evening meal. There is no need for excitement or drama. The meal is simply an act of nourishment and togetherness. The family gathers around the table, sharing the food that has been carefully prepared and offering thanks for the abundance they have received. The evening passes gently as the family settles in for a quiet night, each one knowing that the routine will begin again when the sun rises the next day.
As the village sinks into sleep, there is a deep sense of satisfaction in the air. The work is done, the tasks completed, and now the night is a time for rest. There is no rush to finish anything, no need to worry about tomorrow. Instead, the villagers sleep soundly, knowing that the world is moving at its own pace, and there is peace in that. The sound of the wind, the rustling of the trees, and the occasional hoot of an owl fill the silence of the night. The moon, shining brightly above, watches over the village, its soft light casting long shadows on the earth. The world is still, and all is well. As the last of the embers in the hearth fade away, the village rests in the calm embrace of the night. The quiet rhythm of life continues, as steady and comforting as the turning of the seasons. Good night, and may the peace of the village fill your dreams, bringing you rest and tranquility until the dawn.
The lifelong rhythm of work. In the village, work is not something that can be rushed or postponed. It is part of the very fabric of life, something that begins at the first light of day and continues with steady, unhurried pace until the evening falls. Work in the village is not about productivity or deadlines. It's about nurturing the land, the animals, and the bonds between people. The cycle of work flows as naturally as the rising and setting of the sun. The farmer, for example, knows that each task must be done in its own time. The sowing of seeds, the tending of crops, the milking of cows, all of these must be done with patience and care. There is no need to hurry. The earth will grow at its own pace, and so will the crops. Each season has its own work, and the rhythm of the year is something the villagers understand intimately. They have lived through many seasons, each one bringing its own challenges and rewards, and they trust that everything will fall into place in its own time. The blacksmith works in a similar rhythm. His hammer strikes the anvil with a steady beat, shaping iron with deliberate motions. He is not concerned with rushing the work, for he knows that each piece he creates is important and that perfection comes only with care and attention. The sound of the hammer is a constant, soothing presence, much like the work itself, steady, unhurried, and focused on creating something of value. Even the weaver, sitting by the loom, moves slowly and purposefully. The thread passes through her fingers in a careful, rhythmic flow, and each piece of fabric she creates is done with attention and love. The process is not rushed. It takes time to create something beautiful, and the weaver knows this well. The quiet rhythm of her weaving is like a meditation, a way to connect with the materials and with the ancient traditions passed down from generations before her. Work in the village is not a burden, but a connection to the land, the community, and the past. It is a reminder that life moves in its own time and that there is peace in the gentle rhythm of each day. The silence of the winter nights. As the cold months arrive, the village becomes even quieter. The work slows and the pace of life falls into a peaceful stillness. The snow blankets the ground, muffling the sounds of the world outside. The streets are empty, and the houses, with their thatched roofs and wooden walls, become warm havens from the cold. On these winter nights, there is a special kind of peace. The wind may howl outside, but inside, the warmth of the fire and the company of loved ones make the world feel safe and secure. The hearth becomes the center of life, and the crackling of the fire is the soundtrack of these long, silent nights. In the evening, as the village prepares for rest, there is no rush to sleep. The work of the day has been completed, and now the villagers take time to relax and reflect. Some might sit by the fire, talking quietly with their families, while others might spend the evening reading or mending clothes. There is no hurry to get everything done. The quiet, calm pace of life in the village allows for moments of reflection and rest. The cold, clear nights bring with them a different kind of beauty. The stars shine brightly above, casting their silvery light over the village. The moon is full, its light reflecting off the snow, turning the world into a quiet, peaceful landscape. The villagers know that winter is a time of rest, a time to sleep deeply and dream of the warmth of the coming spring. In these still, peaceful moments, there is a quiet connection to the world around them. The earth sleeps beneath its blanket of snow, and the village rests in the warmth of its homes, knowing that the rhythm of life will continue when the seasons change once again. The unhurried passing of time. In the medieval village, time passes slowly. There are no clocks ticking away the minutes, no deadlines looming. Life moves in its own time, marked only by the changing seasons and the rhythms of nature. The villagers don't measure time by the hours of the day, but by the tasks that need to be done and the natural events that guide their lives. The rising of the sun marks the start of the day, and its setting signals the end. In between, the villagers work, tend to the animals, care for their families, and rest when the day comes to an end. Time is not something to be controlled or hurried. It is something to be lived in harmony with, allowing it to unfold as it will. The simple passing of time is a constant reminder that life is not a race. There is no need to hurry or chase after fleeting goals. Everything comes in its own time, whether it's the planting of seeds, the growth of the crops, or the changing of the seasons. The rhythm of life is steady, and there is peace in knowing that everything will unfold in its own time, just as it always has. As the seasons turn, the village moves with them. The work may change, but the pace remains the same. The village lives in rhythm with the land, and each day is a reminder of the simple beauty that comes with living at a slower pace.
The cycle of the village's generations. In a way, the village itself is timeless. The villagers live their lives from childhood to adulthood to old age and then pass on. But even as one generation fades, the next one rises, bringing with it a new rhythm, a new hope, and a new set of stories to add to the village's history. Children are born into the same steady rhythm, raised in the traditions of the village, learning the ways of the land, the importance of community, and the quiet work that sustains life. They play in the fields, laugh with friends, and listen to the stories of their elders. These stories are not dramatic or filled with grand adventures. They are simple, filled with the small moments that make up life. And as they grow, they begin to add their own stories to the village's collective memory. The village changes slowly, and yet it stays the same. The work remains constant, as do the rhythms of nature and the cycle of the seasons. Each generation adds its own quiet layer to the life of the village, and yet the essence of the village remains untouched. The days pass by, unhurried and gentle, and the village remains a place of peace, work, and connection. A peaceful conclusion. As we come to the end of this peaceful journey, let the simplicity of the village life fill your mind with calm. The work, the rhythms, the quiet moments spent with family and friends, they all weave together to form the slow, steady pulse of a life well lived. The village sleeps now, as you too can rest. There is no need to worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will come in its own time, just as the sun rises and sets, just as the seasons change. The rhythm of life will continue, gentle and constant, guiding us all through each new day. Good night, and may your dreams be as peaceful and steady as the life in the village that has been your companion tonight. Let the quiet, soothing rhythms of the world bring you comfort and rest, and may you wake tomorrow feeling as calm as the village that has been your companion tonight.
The eternal cycle of day and night. In the village, the cycle of day and night is as constant as the flow of time itself. The rising sun marks the beginning of another day, bringing with it the soft golden light that slowly spills over the fields and rooftops, gently waking the village. There is no rush to start the day. The light spreads slowly, casting long shadows, and the village awakens at its own pace, moving with the natural world around it. In the early morning, the air is cool and fresh, filled with the sweet scent of dew and the faint whispers of birds stirring in the trees. The villagers, in their simple homes, slowly rise from their beds. They stretch and yawn, taking a moment to feel the quiet calm of the new day. The world outside feels soft and full of promise, as though the earth itself is slowly coming back to life after a peaceful night's rest. The daily routines begin gently, sweeping the floor, lighting the hearth, checking on the animals. The work is never rushed, and each task feels like a quiet dance, a rhythm of living that is repeated every day. The sun climbs higher in the sky, its warmth beginning to touch the earth, and the village hums softly with life. There's no hurry to get everything done. The pace of life is steady, calm, and unhurried. As the day slowly unfolds, the sun reaches its peak, bathing the village in its full golden light. The villagers go about their work, tending to the fields, the animals, and the needs of the home. There is no frantic rush to accomplish everything. Each task is done at its own pace, with care and attention. The sound of the wind rustling through the trees and the distant hum of bees gathering nectar fill the air, creating a gentle background symphony that echoes the peaceful rhythm of the day.
As evening approaches, the sun begins its descent, casting soft, amber light across the land. The temperature drops slightly, and the air feels cool and soothing. The pace of the village slows as the work of the day winds down. The evening meal is prepared, and the soft murmur of conversation fills the homes. There's no hurry to finish eating. Everyone takes their time, savoring the food and the company of their loved ones. When the sun finally sets, the village is bathed in the soft light of twilight, a quiet time between day and night. The earth cools, and the villagers, having finished their tasks, prepare for rest. There is no need to rush into sleep. Instead, the evening is a time for quiet reflection, for looking back on the day's work, and for appreciating the peace that has come with it. The stars begin to twinkle in the sky above, and the moon rises slowly, casting a soft, silvery glow over the quiet village. The ever-flowing rhythm of the seasons.
The seasons in the village pass slowly, each one bringing its own set of rituals and routines. The work may change with the seasons, but the rhythm of life remains constant, gentle, and steady. In spring, the land awakens, and the villagers are filled with a quiet optimism. The earth is soft and ready to receive the seeds that will grow into the crops that will sustain them. The days grow longer, and the air is fresh with the scent of new growth. The villagers, working together, plant the seeds with care, knowing that the earth will take its time to bring them to life. There is no rush. Everything will unfold in its own time. The steady rhythm of the earth guides them, and the pace of the village matches it perfectly. Summer brings warmth and abundance. The crops grow tall and heavy, the animals graze peacefully in the fields, and the village feels full of life. There is work to be done, but the long days and the warm sun make it easier. The air is filled with the sounds of nature, birds chirping, leaves rustling, and the quiet hum of the village's daily rhythms. The work is done with care, but there is no urgency. The earth provides everything in its own time, and the villagers work with it, never rushing. When fall arrives, the harvest season brings its own sense of quiet satisfaction. The crops are gathered, and the village begins to prepare for the winter months ahead. The days grow shorter, and the cool air fills the lungs with a refreshing crispness. There is no panic in the preparations. The work is steady and thoughtful, and there is a deep sense of peace in knowing that the land has provided once again. As the leaves turn to vibrant reds and golds, the village moves with the rhythm of the earth, storing food and firewood for the colder months ahead. And as winter settles in, the village becomes a place of quiet rest. The snow blankets the land, and the village slows even further. The pace of life is slower, quieter, and the work is focused on staying warm and comfortable. The hearths glow with warmth, and the villagers gather together, sharing stories and meals. The earth rests beneath its blanket of snow, and the village rests with it. The cold air outside only adds to the sense of calm within as families gather close and the quiet rhythm of life continues. The gentle passing of generations. As the years pass, the village continues its peaceful, unhurried existence. The younger generations grow and learn the ways of the village, inheriting the gentle rhythms of life from their parents and elders. The cycle of life, birth, growth, aging, and passing, is as steady as the seasons, a part of the natural order of the village. When a new child is born, the village celebrates as the new life adds a fresh layer to the village's history. The baby is cradled in its mother's arms, and its cries are met with smiles and gentle hands. The child grows, learning the simple tasks that will carry them through life in the village. They are taught the same rhythms of work, rest, and community that have been passed down for generations. There is no rush for the child to grow up quickly. Each day is taken one at a time, and the child learns at their own pace, becoming a part of the village's ongoing story. As the child matures into adulthood, they take on their own role in the village, contributing to the work of the land and the well-being of the community. They marry, start their own families, and continue the traditions that have been passed down to them. The village grows slowly, but there is no hurry. Each new generation adds their own chapter to the story, but the story itself remains unchanged, calm, steady, and full of love.
And as the elderly begin to show the signs of age, their wisdom is passed on to the younger generations. The rhythm of the village continues, unbroken, as the elders share their stories, their knowledge, and their gentle guidance. The work slows, but the sense of fulfillment remains. And when the time comes, the elderly pass quietly, leaving behind a legacy of care, wisdom, and tradition. Their passing is marked with quiet reverence, and the village continues,
as it always has, in its steady, unhurried rhythm. The endless, peaceful flow of time. Time in the village flows like a river, slow, steady, and without interruption. The work, the routines, the quiet moments of reflection, all of these are part of the same gentle flow that has sustained the village for generations. Each day is an echo of the last, and each season repeats the rhythm of the one before it. The village moves through time without hurry, without stress, and without the weight of the outside world. And as the night deepens, the world outside becomes quiet once again. The village is at peace, its rhythms gentle and unbroken. The soft whisper of the wind, the rustle of the trees, and the distant call of an owl fill the night air, and the village settles into its quiet slumber. The cycle will continue as it always has. Tomorrow will bring new work, new tasks, and new joys. But for now, there is rest, there is peace, there is the gentle comfort of knowing that life, in its own time, will unfold at its own pace. The simplicity of village conversations. As the village lives in its quiet rhythm, the conversations that happen within it reflect the simplicity and calm of life. There are no rushed exchanges, no hurried words, only a steady flow of gentle dialogue. Conversations are often brief but meaningful, filled with the warmth of familiarity and the comfort of knowing that life moves at its own pace. In the mornings, as the sun rises, the village comes to life slowly. The first sounds to fill the air are the soft murmurings of people greeting each other. The baker, with flowers still on his hands, offers a quiet "good morning" to the farmer passing by. The farmer nods, offering a simple reply, perhaps commenting on the weather or the state of the crops. These exchanges are not filled with urgency, but with the shared understanding that each person is going about their work in their own time. At the market, the chatter is gentle and unhurried. There is no bustling crowd, no hurried negotiations, just people chatting softly about their day, the weather, and the health of their families. The exchange of goods is done at a leisurely pace, and there is no pressure to buy or sell. The transaction is as much about the connection between people as it is about the goods themselves. Even in the evening, when the work of the day is finished, the conversations continue, but in a more relaxed manner. The family gathers around the hearth, and the sound of voices fills the room. Some speak about the events of the day, small details like how the animals behaved, or the quiet satisfaction of a good harvest. Others speak in soft tones, recounting old stories passed down from their ancestors, each word shared with care and affection. These stories are not told with excitement, but with a steady rhythm, just like the life they live. In these quiet moments, there is a deep sense of belonging. The words spoken may be simple, but they are full of meaning. The steady cadence of village conversations, like the rhythm of the seasons, is what gives the village its heartbeat. It is through these simple exchanges that the community is kept alive. One word, one smile, and one kind gesture at a time. The quiet connection with the land. The villagers have a unique and quiet relationship with the land they live on. It's not a relationship based on ownership or control, but one rooted in respect and understanding. The land provides them with everything they need, and in return, they treat it with care, tenderness, and patience. The farmer knows that the earth cannot be hurried. It will give in its own time, and so he works with the soil, planting seeds at the right moment, carefully tending to the crops as they grow. The rhythms of planting and harvesting are gentle, marked by the steady passage of time, as each season offers a new opportunity to care for the land. The farmer understands the soil's moods, the way it softens in the spring, the way it hardens under the summer sun, and the way it cools in the fall. The work is steady, and though it can be hard, it is always done with reverence for the land that sustains the village. In the same way, the villagers care for the animals that help support them. Each animal has its own rhythm, and the villagers know how to care for them accordingly. The cows are milked in the early mornings, their gentle lowing providing a soft soundtrack to the start of the day. The chickens are fed, their soft clucks heard as they roam freely in the yard. Even the sheep and goats, which graze lazily in the fields, are cared for with attention and affection. Each act of tending to the land and animals is a quiet act of connection. There is no rush to get the work done, no need to hurry or push. Instead, the villagers move in harmony with the natural world, knowing that their efforts will be rewarded in time. The land, after all, works at its own pace, and the villagers have learned to respect that unhurried rhythm. The slow, steady rhythm of the year. The villagers know that the flow of time is unhurried. Each year brings its own challenges and joys, but they face each one with the same steady resolve. There is no pressure to accomplish more than what is needed. The rhythms of the year, spring planting, summer harvest, fall preparation, and winter rest, are gentle cycles that repeat with the passing of time. Spring is a time of beginnings, when the earth awakens and the villagers plant the seeds that will eventually grow into the food that will sustain them through the year. It is a season of hope, where each seed represents the promise of the future. But there is no impatience. The earth will grow at its own pace, and the villagers know that they can only help it along, not rush it. Summer is a time of abundance. The crops begin to mature, the fields are filled with the fruits of the earth, and the village is busy with harvesting and preserving food for the colder months. But even as the work picks up, the pace remains slow. The long summer days stretch on, and there is no hurry to finish the work. The rhythm of the work matches the leisurely days of summer, where the warmth of the sun encourages the villagers to move with ease.
Fall is a time of reflection and preparation. The harvest is brought in, and the village begins to prepare for the coming of winter. There is no sense of urgency. The villagers work at their own pace, storing food, gathering firewood, and ensuring that they are ready for the colder months ahead. The air grows crisp, and the leaves turn vibrant hues of red and gold, signaling the change of the seasons. The quiet beauty of the fall provides a peaceful backdrop for the work that must be done, but there is no rush to finish it. And then winter arrives, bringing with it a time of rest and renewal. The earth sleeps beneath a blanket of snow, and the village slows down even further. The work of the year has been completed, and now is the time for the villagers to rest. The warmth of the hearth becomes the center of life, as the family gathers together to share meals, tell stories, and enjoy each other's company. The days are short and the nights long, but there is no need to rush. Winter is a time of reflection, a time for quiet, a time to rest the body and mind before the cycle begins again. A life well lived, without hurry. As we come to the close of this peaceful journey through the village, it's clear that the villagers live a life without hurry, one that is centered around the steady rhythm of work, rest, and connection. There is no rush to accomplish more than what is necessary. Each task is done with care, each moment is savored, and each day is a chance to live in harmony with the land, the animals, and the community.
Life in the village is simple but full. It is a life that values peace over productivity, connection over achievement, and the quiet beauty of daily existence. The villagers know that life is fleeting, but they also know that the key to a well-lived life is not found in rushing or striving, but in the steady, unhurried rhythm of each day. As the fire burns low in the hearth and the village sleeps, we are reminded that time, like the seasons, will continue its slow and steady pace. There is no need to hurry.
Everything will unfold in its own time. Good night, and may the peaceful rhythm of the village guide you into a restful, gentle sleep, free from hurry and full of calm.
The subtle shifts of change. As the years move forward, subtle changes begin to ripple through the village. These changes are not sudden or dramatic, but are felt slowly over time, like the gentle turning of the earth beneath the villagers' feet. They are the kinds of changes that come with age, the slowing of the seasons, the softening of the winds, the shifting of the landscape. But despite these changes, the heart of the village remains the same. It continues to thrive at its own pace with a quiet resilience that has been passed down through the generations. The elders, having seen many cycles of life come and go, may notice these shifts more keenly. They speak of the days when the village seemed smaller, when the roads were just simple dirt paths, and when the trees were younger and the animals more plentiful. Their voices are soft, tinged with nostalgia, but there is no sadness in their words, only an appreciation for the life they have lived, the moments they have experienced, and the village that has been their home. While the village itself changes slowly, the people remain steady, and they continue to live in the same rhythm that has sustained them for so long. There is no hurry to change things. Instead, there is a gentle acceptance of the passage of time, a peaceful understanding that the world will continue to unfold as it always has.
The gentle role of nature in the village. Nature remains the constant companion of the villagers, a source of sustenance, beauty, and comfort. Every aspect of their lives is intertwined with the natural world. The village, nestled in the heart of the countryside, is surrounded by the rolling hills, lush meadows, and thick forests that provide for all their needs. The villagers understand that nature is not something to be controlled or conquered, but something to be respected and nurtured. Each season brings its own gifts: spring's fresh flowers, summer's bountiful harvests, fall's colorful leaves and rich fruits, and winter's quiet, still beauty. The villagers know that everything in nature has its time and place, and they work with it, never against it. The animals of the village, too, are treated with the utmost care. The cows are milked in the early hours, the sheep are herded back to the pen after grazing, and the chickens are fed and cared for. Each animal has its role in the village, and the villagers take time to ensure that they are healthy and well cared for. There is no sense of rushing through these tasks, but rather a quiet understanding that these creatures are essential to the life of the village. In turn, the animals provide nourishment, warmth, and companionship. The trees and the land are also honored for their quiet, steady service to the village. The villagers are attuned to the rhythms of the seasons, knowing when to plant, when to harvest, and when to let the earth rest. They understand that nature, like life itself, must be given time to grow, to breathe, and to replenish.
The gift of quiet reflection. One of the greatest gifts of life in the village is the time it allows for quiet reflection. In the busy world outside, there is often little space for stillness. But in the village, time seems to stretch out, providing ample opportunity for reflection and introspection. The elderly often spend their days in quiet contemplation, sitting by the fire, looking out the window at the changing seasons, or listening to the sounds of nature outside. Their reflections are not hurried or forced. Instead, they are soft, quiet musings about the life they have lived, the lessons they have learned, and the beauty they have witnessed. These moments of reflection are not meant to dwell on the past, but to appreciate the present, to savor the quiet rhythm of the day, and to recognize the small blessings that fill their lives. The younger villagers, too, have moments of reflection, often while working in the fields or walking through the woods. The solitude of these tasks allows them to find peace in their thoughts, to connect with the natural world, and to appreciate the simplicity of their lives. There is no rush, no pressure to fill every moment with noise or activity. Instead, the villagers take their time, letting their thoughts wander, finding peace in the quiet of the world around them.
The community's quiet strength. The strength of the village lies not in grand actions or dramatic moments, but in the quiet, steady support that each villager provides to one another. There is an unspoken bond between the people of the village, one that is built on trust, respect, and shared purpose. They do not need to speak loudly or act forcefully to make a difference. They simply show up for one another, day after day, in small, meaningful ways. When a neighbor is in need, whether it's for help with harvesting crops, repairing a roof, or simply a kind word, the villagers are there without hesitation. There is no rush to complete the task, no competition for who can do it the fastest. Instead, the villagers work together at their own steady pace, helping each other with care and without expectation of anything in return. In this way, the village remains a close-knit community where every person's contribution, no matter how small, is valued. Even in times of hardship, the community's quiet strength remains. When storms blow through or when the winter is particularly harsh, the villagers band together, offering their support, their warmth, and their friendship. They understand that life is not always easy, but that together they can face whatever challenges arise. There is no rush to fix everything immediately. Instead, they take their time, supporting one another with patience, compassion, and an unwavering belief in the power of community. The eternal quiet of the village night. As the day winds to a close, the village grows still once again. The sun dips below the horizon, and the sky turns deep shades of purple and blue. The air cools, and the village settles into its familiar nighttime routine. The sound of the wind rustling the leaves and the distant croak of frogs in the nearby pond fill the night, but otherwise, all is quiet. Inside the homes, the last of the evening tasks are completed. The fire burns low in the hearth, and the final preparations for bed are made. The family gathers together, sharing quiet moments before sleep. There is no need for words, just the comfort of each other's presence. The day is done, and now is the time for rest. The village sleeps in peaceful harmony. The work of the day completed, the tasks of tomorrow left for another time. The stars twinkle brightly in the night sky, and the moon rises slowly, casting its soft glow over the village. Everything feels calm, steady, and at peace. The rhythm of the village has carried you through the day, just as it has carried the villagers for generations. Now, as you drift off to sleep, feel the quiet comfort of the world around you. The village sleeps too, knowing that tomorrow will come in its own time, with its own rhythms, just as it always has. The sacred quiet of the village morning. The new day begins with a soft whisper, as if the earth itself is awakening slowly. The first light of dawn spreads across the village in gentle hues of pink and gold. The air is crisp and fresh, filled with the scent of dew on grass and earth, the promise of a new beginning. The villagers, having rested through the stillness of the night, begin to stir, but there is no rush. The first movements of the morning are slow and deliberate. The rooster's crow is the first sound to break the silence, a steady reminder that the day is upon them. It is not an urgent cry, but a gentle greeting to the sun, signaling the start of another peaceful day in the village. One by one, the villagers wake, each taking their time to rise from their beds, stretch, and gather themselves for the day ahead. The fire is lit in the hearth, the smell of wood burning and the warmth it brings filling the room. The children wake, rubbing their eyes and stretching as they begin their morning routines. The simple tasks of the morning are done with care: the sweeping of the floor, the tending to the animals, the gathering of fresh water from the well.
There is no pressure to get everything done quickly. Everything is done at its own pace, in its own time. The village begins to come alive, but there is no sense of hustle. People greet one another softly as they begin their daily work. The sun climbs higher in the sky, but the pace remains steady and calm. There is no rush to begin, only a peaceful awareness that each task will unfold in its own time. The simple rituals of the village life. The rituals of village life are simple but meaningful. They are the steady movements that guide each day, the things that, over time, create a sense of order and comfort. These rituals are not rushed. They are slow and deliberate, as each villager takes the time to carry them out with care and attention. At breakfast, the family gathers around the table, sharing simple foods that were prepared with love the night before. The meal is not a hurried affair, but a time to connect, to share the quiet joy of the morning. The bread is warm, the butter smooth, and the eggs fresh from the chickens. The meal is modest, but it is enough. There is no need for extravagance in the village. Contentment comes from simplicity. After breakfast, the work begins in earnest, but still at a slow and steady pace. The farmer heads to the fields, the blacksmith to his forge, the weaver to her loom. Each task is done with focus, but without urgency. There is no rush to finish. Instead, there is a quiet satisfaction in the work itself. The village is full of small rituals, things that may seem insignificant on their own, but add up to create the steady rhythm of life. A woman carefully waters the garden she's tending, each drop of water given with intention. A man sharpens his tools, his strokes steady and rhythmic. Even the smallest tasks, sweeping the porch, mending a torn shirt, feeding the animals, are done with care, marking the passage of time in the most peaceful way. The connection between the villagers and the land. The village is more than just a place. It is a living, breathing entity that exists in harmony with the land. The villagers understand that their survival depends on their connection to the earth, and they treat the land with the utmost respect. There is no sense of domination over the land. Rather, the villagers work alongside it, honoring its natural rhythms and cycles. The farmers rise early, knowing that their work is tied to the soil. They do not rush to complete their tasks, but rather approach each one with patience, understanding that the earth has its own rhythm that must be followed. The planting, the watering, the harvesting, all are done with care, as the farmers work in sync with the changing seasons. They understand the importance of every season: spring for planting, summer for growth, fall for harvesting, and winter for rest. The animals are treated with the same respect. The cows, sheep, and chickens are cared for with gentleness. Their needs are simple, and the villagers fulfill them without haste, taking time to ensure that the animals are healthy, comfortable, and well-fed. This symbiotic relationship between the villagers and their animals is rooted in mutual care and respect. There is no hurry to get things done, only the steady rhythm of work, each task unfolding in its own time. The trees, too, are part of this connection. The villagers do not cut down trees without thought. Each tree is cared for, protected, and honored. The wood that is used for firewood, building, or crafting is taken with respect for the tree's life, ensuring that the cycle continues without interruption. The peaceful end of the day. As the sun begins to set, casting its soft golden light over the village, the work of the day starts to wind down. There is no rush to finish. Instead, the villagers take their time, knowing that the tasks will be completed and the evening will bring rest. The sound of the evening bell rings gently through the air, signaling the end of the workday. The villagers begin to return to their homes, their steps slow and unhurried. The animals are settled for the night, the fields are checked, and the last of the evening chores are completed. The family gathers once more around the hearth,
the warmth of the fire filling the room with comfort and peace. The evening meal is served slowly, with quiet conversation and laughter shared between loved ones. The food is simple, but it is enough. There is no rush to finish the meal. Instead, the family takes their time, savoring the flavors and the moments together.
As the evening draws to a close, the village settles into the soft quiet of the night. The sounds of the day fade away, replaced by the gentle whispers of the wind and the rustle of the leaves. The fire burns low in the hearth, casting soft shadows on the walls. There is no hurry to end the day. Instead, it simply fades into rest, like the slow closing of a book at the end of a long and peaceful day. The village sleeps, wrapped in the quiet warmth of the earth, knowing that the cycle will begin again tomorrow. The rhythms of life will continue, steady and calm, as they always have. The eternal comfort of the village. There is a certain comfort in the eternal rhythms of the village, in the simple, steady flow of life. The villagers live without hurry, without urgency, allowing time to unfold as it will. Every moment is filled with meaning, every task done with care, and every relationship built on respect and kindness. The quiet beauty of the village lies not in grand gestures or dramatic events, but in the small, peaceful moments that make up each day. The soft sound of footsteps in the morning, the crackling of the fire in the evening, the gentle hum of the animals, and the rhythm of the seasons. These are the things that give life meaning in the village. And as we settle into the night, let the rhythms of the village carry you into a deep, restful sleep. There is no need to rush, no need to worry about what tomorrow will bring. Just as the villagers rest after their work, so too can you rest, knowing that tomorrow will come in its own time, with its own gentle rhythm. Good night, and may your dreams be as peaceful and serene as the life in the village, where time moves slowly and every moment is a quiet blessing.